Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Uncensored Critic podcast. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. It means a lot to me. Thank you very, very, very much. And welcome back to Shakespeare Saturday. We have our part two, and we're tackling another one of the huge canons in the exam papers across the UK, the US, and of course around the world for anyone who has touch with Shakespeare. First of all, Sarah, welcome back.
Hi, everybody. Hello. Thank you for having me again.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. How are you?
Oh, I'm so good. I'm excited to talk R&J.
Yeah, R&J, and of course Romeo and Juliet. Of course, it's one that we've all studied at a young age, and I don't know about you, but it's one of my first ones that I read in English class. Was it the same for you?
Same for us. In the US, honestly, we're not required to read a whole lot of Shakespeare, but Romeo and Juliet tends to be the one that is universally everybody has to study it. And I think it makes sense because the protagonists are about the age of high school students. So, it's an easy in to Shakespeare for a first romp with him.
Yeah, and of course, we'll jump straight in now. So I suppose, actually, before we do, it's like, do you remember? Oh yes, we talked about that. I was about to say it's our first discovery with this play was in school and everything, but I
Mhm.
suppose actually from a different standpoint, when did you feel like you first discovered this play like properly? When like with all the Shakespeare knowledge that you have, when do you think you heard it properly for the first time? Do you think?
Properly for the first time. Oh, I mean, I discovered it for the first time when I was, I don't know, in eighth grade when I was playing the nurse in like an acting class, and it was my first time doing any Shakespeare, and I had no idea what I was doing. But properly discovering it, I don't know. I guess it would have been in college when I worked on the balcony scene in my acting Shakespeare class,
Mm.
and realized just how funny it is and how nuanced all of the language is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this play had, much like a lot of his tragedies, also just to say that there are so many moments in Shakespeare tragedies. Yes, the ending is bad and it makes you cry, but there's so much comedy in the
Oh yeah.
tragedies.
Oh yeah. And
Yeah,
especially with Romeo and Juliet. And I always say this, but the first half is a comedy, the second half is a
definitely.
tragedy. And I think the best productions almost make you forget that it's going to be a tragedy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I remember you saying before, like when you watch Shakespeare and you're on the edge of your seat and you forget what happens next, even though we know it so well,
Yeah.
and you're going, oh, and then you forget, and then suddenly it comes in and you go, oh yeah, part of your brain's going, yeah, I do remember that, but then it's like, oh shit.
Absolutely magical.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect. Absolutely perfect. So the Bard actually gives us, I think, like, I'm not sure if he does this in many others of his ones, but he gives us this a synopsis of where we are in this universe right from the beginning, right from the very, very top, which I will try and find. Give me a second. Where is it? Here we go. So we'll start today with simply the chorus where he says, two households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona where we lay our scene. From ancient grudge break to new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. From forth the fatal loins of these two foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life, whose misadventured, piteous overthrows doth with their dead bury their parents' strife. The fearful message of their death-marked love and the continuance of their parents' rage, which but their children's end naughty could re oh God, I've lost my point.
Not could remove.
Is that not could remove, which is now the 2 hours traffic of our stage, the which if you were patient ears attend, where here shall miss, our toil shall strive to mend. I mean, that's a cracker of an intro. But
Mhm.
so your first, so I suppose really, like when you hear that, what do you get? What do you pick apart in that opening prologue?
Um, well, first off, it's a sonnet,
Mm,
which is interesting. I actually, just this morning when I was getting ready to talk about Romeo and Juliet with you today, I came up with this theory, and I think it's a solid theory.
hmm.
I think
Go
that
ahead.
Shakespeare actually meant the structure of Romeo and Juliet to mirror sonnet form. Because sonnets are so important in this play. We
Mm,
begin with a sonnet, with that prologue. There's also a sonnet at the beginning of Act Two. And then, of course, when Romeo and Juliet meet for the first time, they have a shared sonnet. The two of them together complete a sonnet.
Mhm.
A sonnet is traditionally the form of the of love and love sickness. Also, in the original source material, the play, the events of the play take place over the course of about 9 months, whereas Shakespeare condensed it to 5 days.
Mm.
The nature of a sonnet is that it's a condensed form of poetry. You have to fit in a lot within this very packed frame. Also, the a sonnet traditionally has 14 lines, and the word 14 is used over and over again to refer to Juliet's age,
Mhm.
even though she's actually 13. It says she's not yet 14.
Mhm.
And then, of course, very famously, the whole play ends with a couplet. Never was a story of more woe than this of Juliet and her Romeo.
Yeah.
And so I like it just seems to be right. Oh, and also, most sonnets contain what's called a volta, which is a, a turn in Italian, and it's where the thought completely changes direction. And there's a volta in Romeo and Juliet, and it's when Romeo kills Tybalt and Mercutio is killed. From that point on, like I said, the first act is a comedy, second act is a tragedy.
Yeah.
And so I just it with Shakespeare, content dictates form always, and I don't think it's a coincidence. And yeah, that's the first thing that I pick up from that prologue. It is a sonnet, and it's not a coincidence.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, that's the first time I've heard that actually. And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I think
Well,
that's the,
I came up with it this morning. You know, who knows? Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it just makes a lot of sense to me.
no. There you go. It's exclusive here now. Plus, scholars are going to jump on you now, in a good way, in a good way. But and it's interesting because yeah, like you mentioned there, I think I've got it written down here somewhere, which is the play was written between 1594, reportedly written by the way, between 1594 and 1596, and was first printed in an unauthorized quarto edition in 1597. A second one, which was longer and more accurate edition in Q2, appeared in 1599, which I believe is the version that we have now, the second edition.
But also the first folio,
Yeah.
that's its own version too. Although I think it's more similar to Quarto too.
Yeah. There'll be a
Yeah,
few little
yeah,
changes, but other
yeah,
than that, it's the one that Shakespeare wrote on paper and got printed. And
yeah.
yeah, it's and I've got a few things. Where is it? I'm here. Yeah. So from it was actually an Arthur Brooke poem. Well, he wrote it based on a French text, which was written from an Italian text, and basically coming down to 1562, which was called "The Tragical History of Romeo and Juliet," and the timeline is 9 months. Of course, as you said, Shakespeare shortened it to 5 days. And of course, in Shakespeare, the two meet on a Sunday and they get married on Monday afternoon. So
Yeah,
it's a pretty quick turnaround in terms of
pretty
there's a
quick. Yeah.
bit of love and everything. But I suppose really we'll start with one theme today, which of course is love, which is at the centerpiece of the play, and more specifically, adolescent love, because these two are 13, 14. They're so young. They're still
Oh
kids.
yeah. Yeah.
They're still kids. And
Yeah.
one thing from there's a brilliant article from the current London production of Romeo and Juliet in the Pinter, which was written by Lucy Folks, who's at the University of Oxford in St John's College. She talks about people often wonder. They said people often wonder why would Shakespeare write with two very very young kids? They're two by legal terms today. They're two minors or they're
Yeah.
underage. Getting married at 13 and 14 is just it's obscene. It's unheard of. But of course, I think she makes a very good point to say that I think Shakespeare wanted to highlight like not only just the purity of love, but the messiness of love as well. And when we go through our adolescence, we meet someone and we think, or we fancy the absolute pants off somebody, and for us that's love. And sometimes, tragically, that love is unrequited and not reciprocated. And so at that age, we think, oh my God, woe is me.
The world
no,
is over.
nothing's
Yeah.
working out. I'm the worst person ever. Of course, all of that's not true, by the way. But we think, oh my God, it's all messy and we're just
Yeah.
completely in our own just world of pity. And it shows you the impact that love has on such a young age. And of course, our brains are not fixed. Our brains
Not
still,
until we're 25. Our brains are still developing. Our
yeah.
prefrontal cortex has not fully formed yet. So we take risks and actions that, a few more years later we would never do.
And,
Yeah.
I think there's a bit in here that there's a word in here which I've never seen before. It's like pubertal hormones. In other words,
Mm.
going through puberty. We'll go through that. Teenage love affairs. This is a direct quote. Teenage love affairs are often the most emotionally intense relationships of our people's lives. And she also quotes that adults probably go like two kids, love. You're 14.
Mm.
That's not love at all. But ironically, their relationships, their fancies, their attraction to whoever they were attracted with in teenage years have shaped their
Yeah.
relationships and the course of it through their lives. And this is highlighted by Lucy's article that
Mm.
they're very quick to judge, but
Yeah.
they've been through the same experience, yet don't want to say because it makes them feel vulnerable. They don't want to share it, blah, blah, blah. But
Yeah.
we shouldn't be too quick to judge about all
Oh,
this.
I love that. Yeah, that's right on the nose. Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. Yeah. Anyway, what do you feel about adolescent love in this play?
I mean, going back to the source material, that poem that you mentioned,
Yeah.
in that Juliet is 16
Mm.
and Shakespeare makes her even younger. He makes her 13.
Ay, ay, ay.
Why? Why? Like that's always an interesting question. That's why I like to go back to the source material and see, okay, what choices were Shakespeare's? Um, I think by making her even younger, he's also pointing out like she is too young to get married.
Yeah.
And there's talk of her marrying Paris before she even meets Romeo. And her
Hmm.
own father says, I'd like her to be a little older. Like I really would. Um, but there are these two young kids who are in love for the first time. Um, and they should be able to explore that. They should be able to um, to date and find out if they want to, if they really do love each other, or if this is just attraction at first sight or whatnot. But they don't get to because of their parents, because of the culture surrounding them. They are trapped in it. I don't know. To me, that's the real tragedy. Yes, it's a love story, but in a way, it's also not.
Mm.
In that, like, talking about adolescent love, there's also a reason why Shakespeare includes the whole bit about Rosaline before Romeo meets Juliet, that he's a fickle teenage boy.
Oh,
He,
incredibly.
he was completely hung up on Rosaline, and then the moment he sees Juliet, it's no, I've never seen anyone more beautiful than her. It's not possible, all of that, which that's not bad, but it's just a teenage boy.
Mm.
Um, so it's I, and the focus in the prologue too is on the two households. That's the first thing that's mentioned, and it's that these two households are at war for no good reason. I mean, I'm sure there were reasons they've forgotten at this point, but they hate each other, and it's only through their children's deaths that this feud is able to finally end.
Mm. Yeah, and it's you look at how right from the off you've got, and of course that one thing I mentioned today is about there's also about parenthood in this as well, because both of them come from extremely strict circumstances, which is a Capulet cannot marry a Montague, and a Montague cannot be involved with a Capulet. It's like there's some extreme examples I could use there, but I'm not going to. But basically, it was frowned upon. You do not do that. You do not
Yeah.
fraternize with the enemy in any way, shape, or form. Even saying hello to them on the street is a crime.
Hmm.
That's how serious we're talking here. But also the interesting thing about I found that correct me if I'm wrong here, but and I feel like Romeo finds a father figure in Friar Lawrence, and Juliet finds a mother figure in the nurse, be-
Yeah.
because the
That's,
nurse is the one who tips her off and says, and it's like, oh, it's a beautiful scene in which I know you've seen Baz Luhrmann's film very recently, and
mhm.
who's played the nurse, and that's played by Miriam Margolyes, and she plays it so
So
beautifully,
good. So
so
good.
beautifully, and she has the way they play that scene, them and Claire Danes, a very young Claire Danes in that as well, and so she said, there lays a husband, go to, I can't remember the scene exactly, but go to the chapel at this time. There lays a boy who wishes to make you his wife. She's encouraging it, and the warmth in that scene is it's beautiful. And Friar Lawrence is there guiding Romeo through these weird times. And yeah, do you see that as well?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I've always thought that about the nurse, especially with the nurse's speech where she talks about how she and Susan were of an age, that the nurse had a daughter who was Juliet's age, who tragically passed away as an
Mm,
infant.
yeah.
And that's how the nurse became Juliet's wet nurse. Wet nurses were women of lower class who had usually lost a child, and so they were hired by these upper class people to nurse their children. And so, think about losing your own child and then having to nurse someone else's child for money. There's something very tragic about that. And yet to the nurse, Juliet has become a surrogate daughter. And she says as much. She views her that way. And Juliet is certainly closer to the nurse than her own mother. And this is actually something that I've noticed in Shakespeare's plays. There are very few examples of good mother-daughter relationships in Shakespeare.
In general.
In general,
Yeah.
usually the mother is completely absent. Um,
Mm,
I, the exception, one of the exceptions is Romeo and Juliet, because you do have Lady Capulet with Juliet, and yet she's not really the mother figure. The nurse is.
mhm.
The other really great, mother-daughter relationship in the canon is in All's Well That Ends Well. And again, it's an adopted daughter situation. It's the Countess who feels like a mother to Helena.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. And you sort of see that in funny enough, I rewatched Hamlet actually this past week. I saw it for a second time, and just
Mhm.
wow. Yeah, we're going to do a film review on this on here at some point, guys. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
We're going into so much detail. God, I could go now, but I'm not going to. I'm going to save it. But you mentioned that there's some kind of weird, no, not weird, but there is a meshing I found. There's a lot of Romeo and Juliet influences in that as well, because you've got
Yeah.
a nurse who cares for Agnes Jessie Buckley, who's had her own experiences of losing three children in childbirth, or when they were very young, and there's the scene where no, Gower, stop. We're going to save that for another time. And also the scene where Shakespeare meets Agnes for the first time out in the field, and then
Mhm.
they cuts to a scene where he's there going, "But soft, what light through yonder window breaks." Yeah,
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
yeah. And then there's influences in that as well. That sort of came to me as well. But
Mhm.
there's just so many layers to, and again, there's a heartbreaking scene later in the play between Juliet and her father, when the news has reached her that Romeo is banished, and he believes that Juliet is dead. And so, spoiler alert, but I think we'll be okay. It's a 400-year-old text.
Oh, you'd be surprised though. People in my comments get very upset when I spoil plays.
Really?
Oh, my fiance is one of those people too.
Oh, come on,
He does
Mandy.
not want
What's the
to.
matter with
I
you?
know he does not want to know the ending of the play until I show him the play. So yeah, I'd be careful about it sometimes.
For heaven's sake, these are 400 years old.
I know, but to be fair, to a lot of people, these plays are brand new, and you know what? I want them to enjoy their experience the way they want to. So I get it. I do. It's a little
Okay.
crazy, but I get it.
That's a good point. Okay, spoilers ahead, guys. Just letting you know. I'm joking. I'm joking. No, but seriously, we are going to spoil the play. But and I can't remember the actor who played it, but I saw it at the Globe, and the way that Juliet's dad has a scene where he basically says to her, "Look, you're going to get married. Look, you don't have any say in the matter. You do as I tell you, otherwise." And I think where she goes to respond, and his line is, "Don't answer me," or in other words, "Don't answer me back," or something. And the way the
Yeah.
actor played it, he kind of kept it subdued and subdued and subdued, and then it got to that scene where he flung his arms in there and he went, "Do not answer me,"
Oh,
and it's like you're saying that to a 13-year-old child.
yeah.
Talk about traumatizing a child, right? I mean,
Well,
yeah.
but also, at this in this time period, and certainly it's the same in certain societies around the world right now, women are property. Women are property.
Badly
Like,
so. Yeah. So
yeah,
the fact that they're still seen as that, which
yeah,
they're not. So
yeah,
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 but
exactly.
it shows that there's a parenthood here, and I think that what seeps in where I'm going with this is they seek guidance. Romeo finds it in Friar Lawrence. Juliet finds it in the nurse. They want to be shown where to go because they've got all these feelings literally bubbling up inside them, and they're going, I don't know how to deal with this. I don't know how
Yeah,
to, because sure, we've all been there when you see that girl that you really fancy in the classroom, or that boy you really fancy in the classroom. You don't know how to talk. You go up to them and they say, "Oh, hi, can I borrow your pencil?" And you go, you just don't know what to say. And then afterwards, you're going, "Oh my God, she's going to think I'm such a freak." And it's like, of course, they don't. And, but yeah, it shows the example of good parenting is key to this
yeah.
whole thing. Yeah, would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And these emotions are so scary because not only are the hormones going wild in your body at the time and you don't have any control over it, but it's your first time feeling these feelings.
Mm,
They're brand new. You've never felt anything like it before, and you
mm,
don't have anything to compare it to. So yeah, you need an older parent figure to guide you through it. And I think part of the tragedy is that neither of them can turn to their own parents. They have to turn to these surrogate parents.
mm. Yeah, and that's where they find their love, which is in Hamlet. I think it showed. Yeah, I promise I'm not doing a review now, but it showed you the power of good parenting. Agnes's love for the children, and Bill Shakespeare. Like, I think it didn't paint. Some people said, and I think it was a really good example of men and women grieve in different ways. But I think
Mhm.
it showed a brilliant example that Shakespeare wasn't just a cold dad who thought, "Oh well, never mind, these things happen." But he actually showed the undercurrent of where he was and how, of course, he wrote a play about it as well, which we still quote to this very day. And yeah, the parenthood there is insane. But maternal love, Rose to Juliet, Nurse to Juliet, and everything. And I think there's something from the article here. Hang on, I'm just going to try and quote this. All good fiction, present real life, maybe about ourselves. Yeah, okay, so this is a quote from Lucy's article here. Shakespeare did all us a service then when he decided to make Romeo and Juliet teenagers. By making his lead characters so young, Shakespeare could tell a more truthful story about the all encompassing power of romantic relationships. He also gave us permission to believe in the gravity of adolescent love. Romeo and Juliet is fiction, but like all good fiction, it tells us an important lesson about real life and maybe even ourselves.
Mm.
And it does as well,
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so yeah, what other things do you think jump out in this play that, apart from love, obviously, what else do you think it discusses?
Um, Gosh, I mean, the contrast between love and hate is so strong in this play. A character like Tybalt and a character like Mercutio, who
Mm,
has some of the bawdiest jokes in the canon, and often steals the play from the actor playing Romeo. There was some sort of famous quote about, oh, well, Shakespeare had to kill off Mercutio in Act Three because otherwise he would have killed the play. Like we
yeah, I
would have
think
heard
so.
more
I
about
think
him
so.
than Romeo, which is interesting. Um, yeah, sorry, I'm going to go back for a second. One
Yeah,
of
of
the
course.
things that I find fascinating about this play is the way that Romeo and Juliet's verse works.
Mm,
In The first time they meet, like we said, they share this perfect sonnet. Um, but then, pardon me,
Bless you.
um, throughout the balcony scene, they have some of the most regular verse in the entire Shakespeare canon. And what I mean by that is, a regular line of iambic pentameter is bum 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 bum.
Mm,
And Shakespeare usually messes with that. He'll put a bum bum here or a bum bum bum, that sort of thing. But that scene, especially between the two of them, it is just perfect. And I think it's meant to show that they are so in sync that the universe, everything is perfect in that moment. And they are just so in love and so present with each other. It's another thing is that they almost exclusively use the pronoun thou with each other throughout the play.
mm,
Um, you was the formal uh, pronoun that you used with, to be polite or with people that you didn't know super well. Thou was the informal. So it could either be used like as an insult or to speak down to someone of a lower class, or it was used affectionately with someone that you love. And with like husbands and wives and romantic relationships, every other couple in the canon switches back and forth between you and thou, depending on the topic of conversation, depending on, what the vibe is at that moment. Um, Romeo and Juliet constantly use thou with each
mm.
other. In fact, the only
Quite
time
intimate, isn't it?
I remember that Romeo uses you is when he's leaving Juliet in the scene after they have sex, when he's
Mm,
going off. And I think it's symbolic of the distance that is about to grow between them. But how beautiful is that? That these two teenagers, they have this perfect verse. They exclusively use thou with each other. It's almost like they're breaking the rules of how people in love should behave. I don't know. It's gorgeous,
mm.
gorgeous.
Yeah, and I feel like yeah, one thing that jumps out at me there. This might be a very, very, very literal reading of this, but they're two very well educated young people, aren't they? The way they speak.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, they're both so smart. Yeah.
yeah. The fact
Yeah.
that Romeo's aware of nature and the universe, and well, they both are. They both are.
Yeah.
They're aware of drives and urges, etc. But again, like Shakespeare and nature, not just in human nature, but nature in general, it
Mhm.
also shows how, despite all this, and I think this ties into another theme, which is violence and conflict as well. You've got this
Mhm.
war raging between two households who genuinely don't like each other. It's a bit
Yeah.
like the two, which what, the two diplomats in King Lear. There's three. And when he divides the kingdom into three, he gives and he gives one share, and then the final share he shares out with his young daughters. But that's a whole other
Mhm.
conversation. We'll get to King Lear at some point,
Mhm.
guys. But at yeah, he divides the kingdom between two men who he knows don't like each other, and I can't remember the two of them
Mm.
now.
The Duke of Cornwall and the Duke of Albany,
Albany,
because they're
okay,
they're married to the two sisters.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
Kent says, "Thou dost evil," and what you're doing is evil, But anyway,
yeah,
you've got two households, and Montague and the Capulets, that actually going hammer and tongs at each other,
mhm,
can't be seen in either or's company, and yet throughout this, as it says in the prologue, love is the thing which sprouts out of it, and
yeah,
it goes to show that yeah, look, no matter how bad a situation gets in any shape or form, there's always love, no matter what. And yeah, it's messy. Yeah, is it underage? Yeah, but it's is it messy? Is it pure? Absolutely. And so all these amazing things which he does. But you know, yeah, I always like I didn't like that. No, sorry, no. So I didn't like it, but I didn't get the first bit of Baz Luhrmann's film because it just felt like a scream fest. Those first 10 minutes. Wait, what did you think?
See, I disagree there because
Okay.
I think the point. and we talked about this a little bit before we started filming, but I
Yeah.
think the point is that he's setting the stasis at the beginning of the film that like these two families hate each other. They're constantly at each other's throats. Not only that, but it is the hottest hot days of summer. You know, it's we get a firm date that it's in July.
Mhm.
Tempers are running high, all of that. And I feel like you need to create the sense of this is the world that these two young people belong to and are a part of in order to realize just how out of place they are in it.
Mhm. You know that no, that's a good point. That's a good point. And I feel like you need that in itself is such a key ingredient because you've got the prologue, two
Yeah.
households with the life, the dignity, blah blah blah, and then of course after that you've got a brilliant scene between them. Because Gregory,
Yeah.
on my word, will not carry coats. No, we shall be colliers, I and me. It's like disgrace to me if they bear it. And he bites his thumb. You do bite your thumb at us, sir. I do bite my thumb, sir.
Hmm.
Yes, yes, I do. You,
Hmm.
you
But
could.
not at you, sir. Yeah. But I do bite my thumb, sir. Yeah.
Yes, I do bite my thumbs though. Yes, but I think but I got to talk about one scene in particular, which of course is the famous scene, the balcony. You know,
Yeah.
and actually just a little setup to that. I don't know how I'm going to get this in today, but I can just say it now. But Romeo, because he's so fickle, because he's like, oh my God, Rosaline dumped me. It's just like, what is life? What is life? You're going, oh, Julia, and it's like sometimes you just feel like you want to punch him in the face. It's like
Oh, yeah.
just like wake the fuck up. What's wrong with you? And
I actually said that. I had never seen the Baz Luhrmann Romeo and Juliet. I know, this is crazy. I'd never seen it
um,
until 2 days ago.
yeah,
And I watched it in prep for this talk.
yeah.
Somehow it's just a gap in my knowledge. And my fiance Randy was like, Sarah, you have to watch this. It is quintessential. And oh my God, first off, I loved it. I didn't think I would. I
It's very
adored it.
good. It's very
Oh
good.
my gosh.
Yeah.
If I had seen that when I was younger, I think I would have fallen in love with Shakespeare even earlier. I
Mm.
think he absolutely gets the story and the cuts are good and the acting's good and the text feels so natural in these American accents and it's just I love it. I love it. I love it. But I said to Randy, I was like, I love how Romeo would be completely insufferable if he weren't played by Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh.
Like if he weren't as beautiful as Leonardo DiCaprio, I think I'd want to punch him in the face. But
Yeah.
but it's and so I think something of the actor who plays Romeo has to be just so gorgeous and have this aura about him that even though he is somewhat insufferable and his like, oh poor woe is me,
God.
we still love him.
Oh,
Yeah.
you just want to smack him and be like,
Yeah.
dude, like, oh yeah, look, I get it. You're 13 years old. You don't know what you're doing, but come
We've all been
on.
there. And honestly, that might be why we want to smack him because we see ourselves in that and we don't like that. Like,
Yeah.
because I was certainly Romeo at that age.
Oh yeah,
Like,
me too. Me
oh
too.
yeah, I
Yeah.
just don't want to acknowledge that because, oh, it's embarrassing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like going back to Lucy's article, which I mentioned earlier. It's funny because
Mhm.
as adults with our life experience out behind us and growing life experiences, on this planet we call Earth, we it's funny, we all think, oh, yeah, just there's silly little things, aren't they? Just wake up. It's like, yeah, excuse me, but when you were that age, you did the same thing.
Hmm.
So a little bit of a, like I said earlier, a little bit of a non-judgment and
Uh-huh.
sympathy, empathy. You know those words, empathy. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
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 That's fucking use it, okay? Because these are young children, okay? They don't know what they're doing, and we were all there once.
Yeah.
But Julia, we'll get to the balcony scene in a second, but it's like they're two contrasts in a way. Romeo is, and again, opposites attract. Romeo is, oh, woe is me, whereas Julia, she seems to have a very strong grounding.
She has a good head on her shoulders.
Yeah,
And yet she runs off and marries
yeah,
the
yeah. Okay, but
son of
that
her
that
worst
aside,
enemy in the afterlife. So I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, it was just Julia in that brief period from How Now Who Calls to meeting Romeo at a party. I mean, she's of course her mum says, "Tell me, daughter Juliet, how stands your disposition to be married?" You go,
It is an honor I think not of.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're standing up to your mother there as well at 13 in those times. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
She's got a foundation to her, I think. Yeah.
Well, she's the third largest female role in the entire canon.
Mm,
She and she's a 13-year-old girl.
yeah.
Like she's wise beyond her years, and yet intelligence. Actually, let me rephrase that. She's
Yeah.
highly intelligent.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's wise because how
Mm,
many of us are wise at 13?
none.
So there's a difference between like being intellectually bright and capable and also like having life experience to guide you through something like this.
Yeah, and actually, we've got to mention. I've just remembered. You've seen Shakespeare in Love, right?
It's been a long time. I need to
Yeah.
rewatch it, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
There you go. There's your viewing for tonight. There you go. But of course, there's a Ben. I think there's a young Ben Affleck in there as well, isn't there? But yeah.
Hmm.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. But of course, he arrives at the Globe or the theatre, whichever they're at, and he goes. He's like this revered character, this actor. He's played all around Europe. I'll only play the part if the part is big enough. I want everyone to see me. He goes.
Mhm.
We have a need of and. Played by Joseph Fiennes, who of course the brother of Ray Fiennes, and he
Mhm.
says, we need someone to play the noble Roman, what's it called? The noble gentleman of Verona, or something like that. Oh yes, and the title of this piece, Mercutio. Is it? Shh. I will. I will try.
Excellent. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and of course that's another one as well. That I feel like the love and everything in it as well. Just going back to that for a second, it just transforms them to another place. And of course, in Shakespeare, in Love, he's suffering from writer's block, and I think Hamlet, he's actually got sufferer's block as well. Sufferer's block, writer's block as well. And it shows you that when you just talk about the truth or how you're really feeling, then the words just come, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's beautiful. Yeah.
yeah, just being honest with that. Yeah. Anyway, but so they meet at a party, and Romeo and Juliet, and then Romeo, being his fickle self, tracks her down after discovering she's a Capulet, and yet finds a way. No, I'm not, she a Capulet? No, I don't care. I'm still going to go and track her because that's what my brain's telling me to do at 13 years old.
Well, and by brain, I don't know if it's so much this brain as the little brain down there,
I
you know.
think actually, yes, there's a valid point. Yes, that's a valid point. Yeah, but he goes to see her at the balcony, and you've seen this perform live, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So when you hear it live, imagine you're the director. What do you want your actors to do with this scene?
What what do I want my actors to do with this scene?
Yeah.
Um, that's a really good question. Oh man, I feel like I'm on the spot.
No,
Well,
no,
my
that's all.
first comment about this scene is find the humor in it because it's a funny scene. There are jokes left and right,
Oh
and
yeah.
I think the more that you can make people laugh with it, the more romantic it is. Because young love is awkward, and
Yeah.
there are moments of awkwardness in that scene. Be it Juliet saying, "Oh, do not swear." Like, okay, you can stop now. That's too much. Or, "Oh, thou knowst the mask of night is on my face. Else would a maiden blush, but paint my cheek for that which thou hast heard me speak tonight." Like, oh my God, I can't. I'm so embarrassed. I can't believe you heard what I said earlier. That's so embarrassing. And definitely find that, and also like, why is it on a balcony? Because there's a distance between them,
Mm.
and that distance needs to be closed
Yeah.
from the beginning of the scene to the end. They need to finally be on the same level. So I
Yeah.
think those are the two main things that I would say to my actors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just find the joy in it as well. I think more than anything.
Yeah.
And yeah.
The joy.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
This might be stating the obvious right now, but he's below here. He's in the bushes, and she's up on
Mhm.
a balcony. And
Mhm.
yet, of course, Romeo's lines, two of the brightest stars in all the firmament. He's idolizing just this, what he regards as this star, this beam of light above, and he's just there on the ground going, I want to be part of that. I want to be part of that, and, of course, that's just stating the obvious. But, it's, I remember seeing it at the Almeida actually a few years ago. It's a beautiful, beautiful theatre here in London. And I can't remember the actors. No, I think I've got a copy of the program here actually. Hold on. Bear with me. Bear with me. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So, yeah, unfortunately, yeah, this was a few years ago. There you go. It's that one there.
Mm.
Anyone watching on YouTube, you're seeing it now. And I'm going to read the actors' names out just so I don't. So, one of them's from Ted Lasso, and I can't remember, I don't know how to pronounce his name. So if you're watching or listening, mate, I do apologize. Those are Joe McInnes and Jimo Toheeb. And of course, Jimo is Ted Lasso. He's who's he in Ted Lasso?
I know who you're talking about, and
Is it Danny? No.
yeah,
Danny. Yeah, he's the one who. Yeah. Anyway, he's in Ted Lasso.
okay.
Anyway, but yeah, he's brilliant in that as well. They played well, the way they did that scene. Well, I have to say, I wrote a review for that one as well, I reviewed it very, very highly. The way they played that, I remember he was up on a ladder at the back, and he was the one actually up top, and she was the one down below.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and they kind of met in the middle, of course,
Yeah.
downstage. And I remember he was up there doing "But soft, will light through yonder window breaks," and like any in Shakespeare, I'm sure we'll repeat ourselves this phrase as we go on with this series. But it's like when you hear that it's like when someone does it well and they find the joy in it and they're not too busy about obeying the rhythm, blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
it's like when you think you've heard it for the first time, it's like a weird thing where you've heard it so many times, but when someone does it well, it's like you actually hear it for the first time.
Yeah. Yeah. The more I work on these texts, the more I get the sense that these words are like incantations.
Mm.
When you tap into them just right, it's just magic. And it's not easy to do, but when you really embody them and make them make sense and make them heard, oh my God, the energy in the room changes.
It does.
I can't explain it. I can't explain it. It's just
Yeah.
magic.
It's like there's like a certain amount of monologues or scenes or soliloquies in Shakespeare, which I think there's a tangible silence which falls over the audience. One, of course, is to be or not to be, of course, which is the one that everybody knows. One right from the beginning of Richard III, now is the winter of our discontent.
Hmm.
And thirdly, I'm sure there might be more, but these are the top three off my head, is that scene, is the balcony scene.
Yeah. Another one that I'll throw in there is Lady Macbeth's
Yep.
come. Yeah, that whole speech, it is like she is casting a spell. And I have heard it performed in such a way that you in a huge audience, you could hear a pin drop. People are so mesmerized and terrified by just the sounds of these words. Oh, it's gorgeous,
Yeah.
gorgeous.
But in
Yeah.
this one, it was Tahi, but like the way he did it was you could hear a man falling in love. You could just hear it. I know that sounds a bit vague, but
No.
you could hear it. You could hear it in his voice
Oh
that
man.
this was hearing it for the first time. I sat there in my seat going, wow, wow. It just reminds you of like how good these plays are. And on that note, Sarah, should we do it?
Let's do it.
Let's
I'm
do it,
so
man.
excited.
Here we go.
All right.
Let me get it up. Okay, so here we go. First reads, like on day one of rehearsals. So, okay, so this is Act 2, Scene 2 from line, you know the lines. So, yeah. Ready?
Right.
There we go. So, he jests at scars and never felt a wound, but soft. What light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is already sick and pale with grief that thou art her maid, far more fair than she. But be not her maid, since she is envious. Her vestal livery is but sick and green, and none but fools do wear it. Cast it off. Oh, It is my lady. It is my love. Oh, that she knew she were. She speaks.
Oh,
She speaks, yet she says nothing. What of that? Her eyes discourses. I will answer it. I am too bold. I am too bold. 'Tis not to me she speaks. Two of the fairest stars in all the heaven, having some business, do entreat her eyes, to twinkle in their spheres till they return. What if her eyes were there, they in her head? The brightness of her cheek would shame those stars as daylight doth a lamp. Her eyes in heaven would through this airy region seem so bright that birds would sing and think it were not night. See how she leans her cheek upon her hand. Oh, that I were a glove upon that hand, that I might touch that cheek.
ay me.
She speaks. Oh, again, bright angel, for thou art as glorious as this night. Be o'er my head, as in winged messenger of heaven, unto the white upturned wondering eyes of mortals that fall back on the gaze of him when he bestrides the lazy pacing clouds and sails upon the bosom of the air.
Oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name. Or if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet.
Shall I hear more? Shall I speak at this?
'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Thou art thyself, though not a Montague. What Montague? It is nor hand, nor foot, nor arm, nor face, nor any other part belonging to a man. Oh, be some other name! What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other word would smell as sweet. So Romeo would, were he not Romeo called, retain that dear perfection which he owes without that title. Romeo, doff thy name, and for thy name, which is no part of thee, take all myself.
I take thee at thy word. Oh, call me but love, but I shall be new baptized. Henceforth I will never be Romeo.
What man art thou that thus bescreened in night so stumblest on my counsel?
So by a name I know not how to tell thee who I am, but my name, my dear saint, is hateful to myself because it is an enemy to thee. Had I written, I would tear the word.
My ears have not yet drunk 100 words of thy tongue's uttering, yet I know the sound. Art thou not Montague? Art thou not Romeo and a Montague?
Neither, faint saint, if either thee dislike.
How camest thou hither? Tell me, and wherefore? The orchard walls are high and hard to climb, and the place death, considering who thou art, if any of my kinsmen find thee here.
With love's light wings, I do preach these walls, for stony limits cannot hold love out. For what can love do? What love can do that dares not love attempt? Therefore thy kinsmen are no let to me.
If they do see thee, they will murder thee.
Alack, there is lies more peril in thine eye than 20 of their swords. Look thou but sweet, and I am proof against their enmity.
I would not for the world they saw thee here.
Yes, I have night's cloak to hide me from their sight. But thou love me, let them find me here. My life were better ended by their hate than death prolongs waiting of thy love.
By whose direction foundst thou out this place?
By love, by love, who first did prompt me to inquire? He lent me counsel, and I lent him eyes. I am no pilot, yet wert thou as far, and as vase shore washed the further sea, I would adventure for such merchandise.
Thou know'st the mask of night is on my face, else would a maiden blush but paint my cheek for that which thou hast heard me speak tonight. Fain would I dwell on form, fain deny what I have spoke. But farewell compliment. Dost thou love me? I know thou wilt say I, and I will take thy word. Yet if thou swear'st, thou mayst prove false. At lovers' perjuries they say Jove laughs. Oh, gentle Romeo, if thou dost love, pronounce it faithfully. Or if thou think'st I am too quickly won, I'll frown and be perverse and say thee nay, so thou wilt woo. But else not for the world. In truth, fair Montague, I am too fond, and therefore thou mayst think my behaviour light. But trust me, gentlemen, I'll prove more true than those that have more coin to be strange. I should have been more strange, I must confess. But that thou overheardst ere I was ware my true love passion. Therefore pardon me, and not impute this yielding to light love, which the dark night hath so discovered.
Lady, by yonder blessed moon, I swear that tips with silver all these fruit tree pops.
Oh, swear not by the moon, the inconstant moon that monthly changes in her circled orb, lest that thy love prove likewise variable.
Well, what should I swear by?
Do not swear at all, or, if thou wilt, swear by thy gracious self, which is the god of my idolatry, and I'll believe thee.
Oh, my dear, my heart's dear love.
Well, do not swear. Although I joy in thee, I have no joy in this contract tonight. It is too rash, too unadvised, too sudden, too like the lightning which doth cease to be ere one can say it lightens. Sweet good night. This bud of love, by summer's ripening breath, may prove a beauteous flower when next we meet. Good night. Good night. And sweet repose and rest come to thy heart, as that within my breast.
Oh, would thou leave me so unsatisfied?
What satisfaction canst thou have tonight?
The exchange of thy love's faithful vow for mine.
I gave thee mine before thou didst request it, and yet I would it were to give again.
Wouldst thou withdraw it? For what purpose? For what purpose, love?
But to be frank and give it thee again. And yet I wish but for the thing I have. My bounty is as boundless as the sea, my love as deep. The more I give to thee, the more I have, for both are infinite. Oh, I hear some noise within. Dear love, adieu. Anon, good nurse! Sweet Montague, be true. Stay but a little. I will come again.
Oh, blessed, blessed night. I am afeard. Being in night, all this but a dream, too flattering sweet to be substantial.
3 words, dear Romeo, and good night indeed. If that thy bent of love be honorable, thy purpose marriage, send me word tomorrow, by one that I'll procure to come to thee, where and what time thou wilt perform the rite, and all my fortunes at thy foot I'll lay, and follow thee, my lord, throughout the world.
Madam!
I come anon! But if thou mean'st not well, I do beseech thee.
Madam!
By and by I come! To cease thy strife and leave me to my grief. Tomorrow will I send.
So thrive my soul.
1,000 times good night.
1,000 times the worst. To want thy light, love goes toward love, and schoolboys from their books, but love from love towards school with heavy looks.
Yes. Oh, for a falconer's voice to lure this tassel gentle back again. Bondage is hoarse and may not speak aloud, else would I tear the cave where echo lies and make her airy tongue more hoarse than mine with repetition of my Romeo.
It is my soul that calls upon my name. How silver sweet sounds love's tongues by night, that softest music to attending ears.
Romeo,
My dear,
what o'clock tomorrow shall I send to thee?
at the hour of 9.
I will not fail. 'Tis 20 year till then. I have forgot why I did call thee back.
Let me stand here till thou remember it.
I shall forget to have thee stand still there, remembering how I love thy company.
And I'll still stay to have thee still forgetting any other home but this.
'Tis almost morning. I would have thee gone, and yet no farther than a wanton's bird that lets it hop a little from his hand like a poor prisoner in his twisted gyves, and with a silken thread plucks it back again, so loving jealous of his liberty.
I would thy bird.
Sweet, so would I. Yet I should kill thee with much cherishing. Good night. Oh, good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say good night till it be morrow.
Sweet sleep dwell upon thine ears, peace in thy breast. Would I were sleep and peace so sweet to rest. Hence, will I to my ghostly father's cell, his help to crave, and my dear's hap to tell. And scene.
Hey,
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 not bad,
not
man.
too bad for a first read.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all.
Oh,
God,
oh, I love
language,
it.
man.
It's so good. And I'll
Every
tell
time.
you, Juliet is a role that has gotten away from me. I think even when I was young, I always played older characters, and I'm also 5'9", so it's like usually Juliet's cast much, she's supposed to look like a 13-year-old, and so even when I was a teenager, I never seemed like a teenager, so I never actually
Mhm.
got to play Juliet. But man, it's fun to just get to
Yeah,
read it here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Never say never, man. Never say never.
Well, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, it's just like even though I mean, we've just come off the back of like Romeo, just like we're gonna shake him and just be like, "Let it away." But now I'm like, okay,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
okay, no problem at all. It's like, oh wow, just like it is my lady. Oh, just saying that, oh, it is my lady. Oh, it is my love. And if I were see how she leans her cheek upon her hand. Oh, if I were a glove upon that hand, I might touch that cheek.
Poetry's
Uh,
stunning.
yeah,
Oh, God,
and
it's
yet.
so.
Yeah, it's great. And also, yeah, the comedy in it as well. So I take thee at thy word, but it's like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, oh, sorry. It's like, where did you come from? It's like, I
Well,
don't
and also when he's like her vestal livery is but sick and green, and none but fools do wear it. Cast it off. It's a metaphor for virginity. So he's saying like,
know.
take it off, give it to me. I want it. Like basically, which is such a teenage boy thing to say, even though it's in this beautiful poetry.
Yeah.
And like the what satisfaction canst thou have tonight? Every young girl knows that feeling. Like
It's like, well, hang on a minute.
we're not going there yet. We're not
Hang
going
on.
there yet. Like, I
At
don't
least buy
know.
me dinner first.
Yeah, at least buy me dinner first. Come on. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's gorgeous. And I don't know, just reading that out loud with you, I don't know. I feel like I discover something new every time
Oh,
I
yeah.
hear it. And the whole this time it just made me aware of, even though they are young kids, they don't, it's such an act of bravery. It's such an act of courage to love in the midst of all this hate that is around them.
Mm,
And that's really beautiful.
mm.
It's an act of courage. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it was, yeah, if you think about it, he's 13 years old. Well, they are 13, 14. He knows nothing about the world. All he knows about is grief and love and unrequited love. And
Mhm.
yet, like you say, that outside noise means fuck all because
Yeah.
he's found someone who he just adores. Albeit, yes, it was very quick. Albeit, it was that night.
It was very quick.
It was
Yeah.
very, very quick, yes. But yeah, he has the courage to go to his enemy's house in the middle of the night where if he's spotted there, he could
He
get
will
killed.
be killed.
He'll be
He
killed.
will be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was idiotic enough to go to the party in the first place, to crash the party. Tybalt tries to kill him right then and there. How
Mm,
dare he come in our house, that sort of
yeah.
thing. And I don't know to what extent it's courage and what extent it is like young, dumb, and full of cum, but like
Yeah.
that's equal parts maybe. I don't know, but um, yeah, it's beautiful. It really is. And
Oh,
just that both of them have the souls of poets in this society, this culture surrounding them that is incredibly violent and harsh and cruel, and like no wonder they find each other.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like no matter how bad and dark things get, there's always love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
It's
Funny enough, I remember again going back to your channel just for a second. I remember you did a dissection of I remember you called it Shakespeare's gayest sonnet, actually.
hmm
And you talked about the fair youth in that as well. And I just don't, I was thinking about today, and I just thought the fair. I remember you going the fair youth. Some people think it's a woman. Some people think it's a man, like yourself, and it's the fair. If Shakespeare writes about adolescence and the fair youth, I mean, from that sonnet, do you think the fair youth is of a similar age, like 13, 14, or is it a little bit older?
I think he's a little bit older. I do think he's teenage to or teenage to early 20s is probably about his age.
Okay, okay.
But not far from it, honestly.
Right,
Yeah.
right. At least they are
Yeah.
they are appropriate. They're legal. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. But the thing is, like, it shows you how this play, and of course, like, okay, spoiler alert. Romeo is banished, and Juliet is told he is dead. He's been killed in the conflict between Mercutio and, of course, Mercutio has that brilliant line, "A plague upon both your houses."
Mm.
You know,
And the moment he dies, he's making puns.
yeah.
Ask for me tomorrow and you shall find a grave man.
Hmm.
Like, come on, man. That's what a character. What character makes puns as they're dying? That's brilliant.
A
So
Shakespeare
good.
character.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, should we do the last bit as well?
Yeah,
Should we do the last bit?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's this last bit that we're gonna do?
Oh, sorry. The last scene. The last.
Oh, oh gosh. Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Let me
You
pull it
sure?
up. All right. All right. Let me look
Okay.
at
Okay. I should have planned this. I don't know where it is.
it. Putting me on the
uh,
spot. Okay.
okay. Hang on. We can think of okay. We can think of something else to talk about while we search for it. Okay. So
Mhm.
you know. Oh yeah. There's one thing in the article which said, imagine if it's actually quite an interesting point. Actually, they said, what if say the tragedy didn't happen? What if the tragedy didn't happen? What if they managed to find each other, and she wakes up from her potion just that second early, and he goes, "My love," and they hug each other and they run off into the sunset. Do you think it would have lasted?
Oh, I don't think so.
No.
Is that terribly
No, no,
um
no, be honest. What do you
cynical
think?
of me? I, I they're young. They're young and in love. I
Yeah.
don't know that their love has staying power, but it's burning bright, like kind of like it is too rash, too sudden, too like the lightning
Mm,
that doth cease to be. Um, maybe, I don't know. I think the point is that they should be allowed to find that out for themselves, um, as opposed to the world not letting them. I don't
mm.
know. I don't know. What do you think, Oliver?
I think I agree with you. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
because again, they're very young, and I remember in school, some people would get like, "Oh my God, so and so's going out with so and so." It's like, "Oh my God, it's amazing!" Ah. 2 weeks later, they're not talking anymore.
yeah. And I mean, look, I'm not saying that it's impossible. I certainly know people who fell in love at, say, 16 and have been together ever since then. But that's very rare. And even that's 16. Like we're talking like 13. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it's very rare.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. Some people it worked. I know some people from 18 and they're still
Yeah.
married now.
Yeah.
In their 40s or 50s or whatever. And some people just lucky.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
happens. It
My
does.
sister started dating her husband when she was 15 or 16 years old. So I guess maybe I shouldn't be one to speak, but
No, no,
I
no. Right,
don't
well,
know.
the truth is, we'll never know. We'll
Yeah,
never know.
we'll never know.
We'll never know. It could be that.
And that's part of the tragedy that we'll never know. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure. Sorry if I've mentioned this to you in our previous podcasts, but I'm not. I think I probably have. But hence we're talking Romeo and Juliet now. I'll just say it again now.
Mhm.
So I was a steward at the Globe Theatre the summer before the
Yeah.
pandemic,
Yeah.
and I said to this fellow stewards, they've been doing it for a long. Some people have been there for like 10 years, like checking people's tickets and like showing them to seats and everything. It's a beautiful community they have down there. I need to do that again at some
Mhm.
point. But they said, I said, well, what's been like some memorable moments like in the theatre? Like, what have you seen? She said, yeah. I remember this one lady said to me, yeah, there was one time we were doing Romeo and Juliet, and they said the final line, tis never was there a story of more woe than this of Juliet and her Romeo. And in that moment, just after the last line, Big Ben told, boom,
Oh,
yeah. I went
that's a
dung,
gift.
dung, and I think the whole audience was just like, "Whoa, okay,
Wow.
there's some power here." Yeah,
I love that.
I know. I can't find this last scene. Should we put that on hold? We'll do that for another time.
I'll put that on hold. I
Yeah, I'll
like
put
it
that on
though.
hold. Yeah, yeah, we've done one
Yeah.
scene already today. Yeah, stay tuned for that one, guys. At another point. So yeah, I think what else do you think we haven't talked about today? Is there anything else you feel about this play that we feel we haven't touched on yet?
Gosh. I mean, I think one of the last things to bring up is just how universally adored and explored this play is.
Oh,
That
100%.
there are so many adaptations of it. You start with something like West Side Story,
Yeah.
so
Yes.
many ballets and operas
Yeah.
inspired by this
Yeah.
story.
It's Prokofiev. Yeah.
Um, yeah, almost more than any other Shakespeare play. I mean, even going back to Baz Luhrmann's or
Mhm.
to Shakespeare in Love, which is in its own right an adaptation of Romeo and Juliet, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Um, there's something about this play that has staying power that keeps us coming back to it. I I was reading there's a book called Shakespeare in a Divided America by James Shapiro, and he had a chapter on Romeo and Juliet, and specifically was talking about how like in America, Shakespeare in Love is the most seen Shakespeare film of all time, or at least it was at the point of writing, and that one out of every 10 adults had seen this film. And a lot of other Shakespeare films have trouble getting off the ground,
Yes.
trouble getting like even like the Mel Gibson Hamlet didn't fully make its money back, I don't believe.
Mm.
And it was saying that the only really successful film adaptations, like that really made money, even if they were critically praised, have been adaptations of Romeo and Juliet.
Mm.
And and it might be that it's one again, even in America, it's the one that we certainly read in school. And so there's a film familiarity with it. But what is it about this play, almost more than any other Shakespeare play, that has that long-staying power and intrigue? I don't know.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I feel like it's something that's done here quite a lot. Um, One thing I will say is that, again, I'm pretty sure I've said this in our previous discussions, but I now realize I'm very much a Puritan when it comes to this material. I'm very much a Puritan. Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't play it like I'm not like super Puritan and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But if some things are cut, which I
Hmm.
really, really don't think you should cut,
Hmm.
it annoys me. Okay, it annoys me.
I I get that. I do. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because there's some productions which cut. I heard myself proclaimed in King Lear. I know some people who cut. There was one version starring Jessie Buckley, funnily enough, which cut the balcony scene.
What?
It cut it. Yeah.
You mean like it cut the whole thing or just cut bits of it?
The first bit, what software light for yonder window breaks. Yeah. It
Uh-huh.
wasn't there.
What?
I know. I was watching the record. It was supposed to be on summer of 2020, but of course that got pulled
Mhm.
for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And they released a filmed version of it. And I watched it and I thought, hang on a minute, did I see that right? And I had to wind it back and I thought,
Yeah.
no, I tried it and wind back again just to be absolutely sure. And then I played it and I thought, oh, you are taking the piss. You are taking the piss. That's like doing Hamlet and cutting to be or not to be.
Jesus. Yeah. It's I mean, I'm with you. Cutting is tricky. Um, and there are some cuts that are really good cuts, you know.
Yeah, of
They
course.
make the play move faster, especially when you get into like comedic bits that are just there's no way you're going to make them clear to a modern audience, no matter how much you do your homework. Like by all means, cut those. Like I
Yeah,
that doesn't bother me. Um,
yeah. I think Mercutio's
but
got a
some
lot of that.
people,
Yeah.
yeah, but some people just cut willy-nilly, and it's like, no, you have to be really precise and careful with these cuts. And I'll say this for the Baz Luhrmann Romeo and Juliet.
Mhm.
They had to cut a lot because it's Shakespeare on film, and you have to because it's
Yep.
a visual
Yeah.
storytelling as opposed to auditory. But I thought they were really smooth and they
Mm.
made a lot of sense. And even though there were some things that I certainly, missed, it made perfect sense for what it was. It felt like a well-oiled machine. I thought the cuts were really, really smart. And considering how much they cut, that's a feat. Like that they made me not miss things.
Mm.
I thought that was incredible.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
they did well. I remember watching that in school, and they did a good version of that. And again, the one I saw at the Almeida as well with the Ted Lasso guy,
Yeah.
and I think it is Danny. I think so. Anyway,
See,
put
like the
put it in the
football is
comments.
like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Ian,
Yeah.
right? And I remember actually, the Almeida's quite an intimate theatre, so he did his curtain call, and he walked up the stairs that were right next to me, and I was sat next to a guy called Matt Wolf, funny enough, who's the international critic of the New York Times or something, and he
Mhm.
spent a lot of time here in London. But I just sat next to him, like, you Matt Wolf? And he was like, yeah. So this guy's seen every iteration of every big play, I think. He's probably seen
Yeah.
some amazing stuff or some absolute shite.
Yeah.
And anyway, he walked past the actor, and I just thought, I've got to say it. I've got a chance here. I just looked at him and I just went, well done. That was brilliant. And he just went,
Um,
and he was very, like, oh, thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you. And then went back to his dressing room because he was probably there having a nice big glass of wine after that. But, you know, but when you see it done right, more than anything, and I'm sure, again, we'll repeat this several times,
Yeah.
it just, yeah, it just takes you somewhere,
Nothing
doesn't it?
better. Nothing
Nothing better
better.
at all. Yeah.
No.
Of course, yeah. So we mentioned Baz Luhrmann's one and Shakespeare in Love, starring the great Joseph Fiennes and everything. Very good. Hamnet as well. And yeah, it goes to show that, no, yeah, there's always love and everything between isolation, adolescent love, death as well. Because
Yeah.
again, spoiler, they die at the end. And oh yeah, sorry, but one last thing for today, Sarah, is what did you think of how they did the death scene in Baz Luhrmann's one? Because I thought that was particularly heartbreaking.
Oh, I loved it. I
Yeah.
thought it was so smart.
Oh,
And
definitely.
for
Yeah, it was
I get
so.
for purists, they would be really upset about, the slight changes, but I thought it made perfect sense in that from going back to the balcony scene, we associate Romeo with the moon,
Yeah.
right? He's talking about the moon and he swears by the moon, and yet he calls Juliet the sun. And so it's the idea that just as he's setting, she's rising.
Mm.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
clever, isn't he? He's clever. He's a good guy. Makes me feel very, very blessed to be able to just to go through these and yeah. Oh, it's brilliant. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, one last thing. These things keep popping into my head. There's
Okay.
the again from the article. She says poor emotion regulation skills between the two main characters. That's a very posh way of saying they're just batshit crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair.
That's fair,
But we all are when we're teenagers. That's just
indeed.
how it is. Yeah.
And also, I think it shows that it's natural as well because there's nothing to be ashamed of. And I think in this I was saying this on an episode the other day, which was I feel very lucky that my adolescence was in the summer holidays. You went out to the park. You
Mm.
didn't go on an iPad. You went on bike rides with your friends. You sat in the park and watched nature.
Yeah.
We had phones, but my phone was an old Nokia brick which had snakes and ladders on it. You know
Uh-huh.
that sort of thing. Yeah, but now it's all changed. Like growing up in this time and everything. But anyway, that's a whole other conversation. But
Yeah. No, but
yeah.
it's important. I often think to myself, like, I don't think there's anything in the world scarier or more vulnerable than being a teenage girl in particular.
All right.
Um, looking at God, I hate to bring this up, but like the Epstein cases, so many people
Yeah,
take advantage
it's
of
fine.
young, vulnerable women. Um, and even if something horrific like that doesn't happen to you, it's just a scary. I don't know that anyone is ever more vulnerable than a teenage girl, and I wouldn't want to be a teenage girl again for all the money in the world. Like that would no. I have great respect for teenage girls because it's hard to be one, and yeah, Juliet certainly shows that. So yeah,
Definitely, definitely.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh my God, I love this play. It's so good. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's good. Okay, one final question. I promise is the last one.
Okay, okay.
You are given, I think I mentioned this earlier, but you are given the chance to direct this on
Mhm.
Broadway, and we won't go into it. We could a whole debate about which actors we choose, blah blah. So I won't do that. But you're given
Mhm.
the chance to put this on Broadway. What would
Mhm.
your concept be? Where would you put it, do you think?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say something crazy.
Mm,
I would set it in the original time and place
mm,
because I think that a lot of people actually really miss getting to see that because most Shakespeare productions today are updated to modern settings. And I think it would be honestly a novelty to see it in its original time and place.
yeah.
Maybe that's a boring answer, but like,
No,
no,
no, like you
let's do
say,
that. Let's explore that. Why not?
not
Yeah.
at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it in like a. I know it's not quite modern, but I'd love to see it in like a Downton Abbey sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
That makes a lot of sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
Upper classes
Especially
when
with the
they.
pressure to marry. Yeah.
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 Mm. Anyway, any West End producers, you know where to find me. You know where to find me. Or Broadway, you know where to find Sarah. But
Yeah, we're here. We're here.
we're here. Email below.
Yes, please, please.
Yeah, just we are available as well. But oh man, Sarah, thank you very much for today. Pleasure as
Oh,
always.
been a joy. Yeah.
Yeah, always a joy talking about all this stuff, and I look forward to the next one. And the next one will be revealed in due course. So stay tuned, guys.
Woo.
Stay tuned. Yeah, brilliant, Sarah. Thank you very much. Always a joy,
Thank you,
and
Oliver.
thank you very much for your time today. And guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This has been the Uncensored Critic podcast and Shakespeare Saturday, and we'll be back very, very soon. And until next time, Sarah, thank you. Pleasure.
Thank you.